Welcome to Boss Builds, where we here at Dungeonmancers take ordinary monsters and make them extraordinary. Today, we talk about orcs. Salem.
Orcs. Yes.
Why do we like orcs?
Because I watched the Lord of the Rings movies religiously as a kid.
Fair.
And I read The Hobbit so many times. But that being said, no, I mean, orcs are, like goblins, one of the most definitive high fantasy creatures for the crowd that is familiar with them, I guess. They define a lot of what kind of D&D and similar tabletop RPGs set out to do, and the fact that they are yucky badasses that live out in the wilds and they hoard stuff and burn villages and are kind of generally the antithesis of the party.
Oh yeah,
that's why I like them,
especially at low levels. I feel like that they're
especially
like, most of the time towns are like, oh, what's the problem? Orcs and goblins. Like that's kind of like the two main. Like, oh, we're being raided by orcs again.
Right.
So like, I don't know.
Orcs are, yeah, because I mean, with less orcs, you can do a lot that goblin. I mean, obviously, goblins are going to be having like funny vehicles and like
goofy traps and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but orcs are like orcs. I feel like if you're starting with goblins in your campaign, unless you're really just jumping around between themes, which I like to do. I think orcs are the next logical step after goblins.
Goblin, and then you go into like the orc tribe or the orc boss is utilizing the goblins to manipulate the goblins so that they do the dirty work, so the orc tribe doesn't have to do the dirty work.
If that's what you want to go with, I generally actually probably recommend for a lot of people that orcs could be a member of the goblinoid monster types.
Yeah, like the hierarchy.
Yeah, like just stack them in there with bugbears and hobgoblins. I get that they fill a different purpose, and that there is an orc. If you're doing like Forgotten Realms, there's like a difference. Orcs are their own thing for the most part. They're not. Well, okay, I should say there's a bunch of different types of orcs you can do, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the fantasy franchises, the orcs of Tamriel in the Elder Scrolls series are a type of elf, and they're civilized. They're just reclusive, and for instance, like Skyrim and stuff. The orcs of Middle Earth, Tolkien with the Ring settings, are twisted elves, corrupted, tortured souls that have been twisted into a horrifying nightmare army. But those are probably the most. It's weird because they're the kind of the original orc. They're the strangest. They're the furthest removed from any of the other types of orcs. Just in terms of what they do, because those orcs are militarized and regimented, and I mean they're not strictly regimented, but they're closer. They're not wildland raiders like most D&D settings portray them as.
Yes.
But I like lumping them in with goblins sometimes for sure.
Yeah. They make a good like bruiser for goblins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, there's goblins are like little dudes. I don't want to turn this into a goblin episode. Goblins, little dudes. Bugbears are a good bruiser as well, and I would say that most times I would probably recommend a bugbear, but sometimes it doesn't work thematically for you, and you want that kind of more martial presence of the orcs without the martial kind of regimented bullshit of the hobgoblins, which I do love. But there's a time and place. That being said, orcs in and of themselves are just meaner goblinoids, capable of
Vicious.
a lot of bullshit if you let them get up to it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially if you're into like, World of Warcraft, like orcs are super prominent in WoW, and so like if you transition into D&D or you're like a WoW and D&D fan, like I'm sure that you are also a big fan of playing like half orcs and interacting with orcs and all that stuff. And that's the fun thing about orcs, is because you can play like a half orc, and you have that tie to like the tribe, even though like it lends itself to a huge role playing opportunity that you just don't have with a lot of monsters.
True. Oh yeah, especially if you make them like WoW orcs. For those maybe unfamiliar, World of Warcraft, like the Warcraft setting orcs, are very civilized by comparison to a lot of the other interpretations of them. I mean, they build fortresses, cities, all sorts of things. They are a unifying group in the Horde. They are kind of the glue that holds the group, like the factions together. Just sick. I think that's a fun interpretation. I think that's a lot nicer than majority of orc interpretations, especially if you look at like old school D&D orcs, like first and second edition orcs.
Very dark.
They are
with
nasty.
Them.
They're nasty. Those motherfuckers do not like joke around. They are, and it means that because the modern orcs have become more humanoid the longer they've stuck around.
Yes.
Original orcs were nasty, almost boar-headed, hunched over, kind of like big brutes. Modern orcs are more of like the noble, like wild man sort of situation. Oh, they in Forgotten Realms and stuff with Grumsh and the evil orc gods, they do carry a sinister tone when they appear most of the time.
Yeah.
Eberron orcs are different though.
Eberron orcs
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Amazing, and I love them.
Rock.
They're my favorite orcs of all the D&D orcs.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, protectors of the wild. If they're attacking your city, it's because a demon is probably trying to take hold in that city and stuff like that, and they can sense that and they're combating it. I think that's awesome. I think more D&D needs to try and give the orcs more to do than just being raiders all the time for the sake of raiding.
And just violent, angry boys.
Right. And I mean, I get why D&D has felt the need to do that, especially if you're playing a setting like most of the canon, like kind of just written D&D settings. The gods kind of determine everything, and since orcs were created by the orc gods, they follow their sort of deity's status of like Grumsh is a god of beating stuff up and taking stuff and lighting stuff on fire. So orcs as a principle, since the gods are directly influencing these creatures, tend to do that. You can move away from that though, and I would encourage it. You can do a lot of fun stuff with them.
Yeah, I mean,
no, they're absolutely one of my. I feel like we say this every boss build so far, but they're absolutely one of my favorite.
Monsters are just cool.
Creatures. Monsters are just cool.
But
there's a reason for all this. It would suck if monsters weren't cool.
It'd be no fun to DM.
No.
But speaking of giving orcs a different purpose and something better to do than just being raiders, how can we make a boss orc a little bit more interesting than just having a great axe and giving him more attacks and more damage?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like every time I read any, like, so there's like the normal orc stat block that is, he literally just has like a great axe and he's got like, I think like 15 HP and he's kind of lackluster because all he does is swing a great axe. And then they got like the orc-ward chief, and all the orc-ward chief has is like extra attack, and he deals an extra dice of damage on his hits. And then he can do like a battle cry, giving everybody advantage on one attack for a round, and like that's it. And he's a bigger sack of HP, and that's all he is.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, it's And there's a couple like alternate stat blocks that are good. The Orc Red Eye of Shargos or whatever it's called is like an assassin orc. And then obviously there's the Orc Eye of Grumsh, which I like, which is like a kind of like a almost like like a priest sort of orc. He's like which I like all that. Spells are limited and their abilities are still limited.
I think they give them like there's a couple different ones that have like Bane, and I think there's one that like they give Bestow Curse, but they really don't give them very much as far as flavor or options.
Orcs don't get a lot to do. That is the orcs as like a whole in Dungeons and Dragons. They don't have a lot to do. They are primarily going to be fodder, which sucks. So, what are some cool things we could do with like an orc to kind of make him stand out above others? One thing that comes to mind for me, and this is going to bend another stat block a little bit in the process. The orc mother god in D&D General is Luffic, the goddess of fertility and like caves and stuff. Her symbol is kind of bears, right?
Okay.
I think having like an evil werebear, like orc priest of Luffic or something, could be really cool. For instance.
Okay, that'd be pretty interesting.
Or
have
something.
Have them be like a cave bear, werebear.
It really depends, and this is I think our answers for this one are really going to depend on what style of orc we want to kind of mess with. One of my favorite types of orcs is the Warhammer orcs, and the Warhammer 40k orcs. I love them; they're so goofy. But I don't think that that's what we should be talking about here, because I don't think that translates well into D&D.
You'd have to be playing a very specific style of campaign for that.
Yeah. And it'd be fun. Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun, but those orcs are they're stronger than most fantasy orcs. Those orcs are horrifying in how powerful they are. I think a fun concept, at least for like a low level boss encounter, make like some sort of Urukai or something.
Okay.
If you're going for like the Tolkien style orcs, make some sort of like horrible regenerating badass orc or something, right?
Something that I was thinking about. I was pondering like, okay, what's like, because it doesn't. The monster manual does not give you a lot to run with, and neither does like Volo's Guide or Mordekainen's. Like, they're kind of just like, oh, this guy, he happens to be blessed by Grumsh, and so he has some extra powers. However, I think that we can get a little bit creative with an orc, and like something I was thinking about, it just popped into my brain. Like, what if we gave him, some sort of like runic ability, or there's like these pillars around, right? Like lightning rods, and this place is electrically charged, and this orc happens to be able to control the electrical energy through these pillars.
Yeah, that rocks.
Like, I don't know. I think that you kind of have to you have to give an orc something else outside of just orcish kind of things.
Yep. One thing you're going to struggle with an orc boss, use the arena a lot, and don't make the boss a solo monster.
No.
Orcs should be characterized by their, I'm not sure what to describe, their numbers.
Orcs know how to do battle. They know how
to do battle.
They're smart.
They also know how to have a lot of orcs, generally speaking. So you're going to want a bunch of orcs nearby, whether the party had to fight through most of them to get to this area, or maybe it's like an orcish ambush or something, or orcs are attacking the camp at night. You're going to want probably at least as many orcs as you have. Like, okay, I shouldn't say that because at low levels you're not, but you're gonna want probably about as many orcs as you do players, give or take, unless your main orc is that strong.
Yeah, unless you're really souping
But
them up.
otherwise, the problem is that the party is just going to surround him, and as we say in our table, they're going to office space.
Space the crap out of him.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but yeah, no, I like that. Using the arena, having something that can maybe pull people off of the orc, or having small creatures that can intercept the orc. Maybe the orc is performing some sort of dark ritual with these pillars, and as long as they stay up, as he takes damage, maybe he'll regenerate and grow like new limbs or do something really crazy. I don't know. Make him like a...
Let's see.
Like not a necromancer orc, but maybe like there's like a huge sacrifice.
I mean, if he's like controlling lightning, I think it'd be like an evoker.
Yeah, no, right. I'm just thinking like going off of the pillar idea. Like maybe these pillars are surrounded by like bones and stuff, and the longer they stay up, more skeletons join him in battle.
Ooh.
Like rise to help them. Stuff like I like the pillar idea.
Yeah, I like to think that like
classic sort of off battle.
You give them like 5 pillars or something in like a pentagram shape. Maybe you even have like along the top, you have like little bridges, and that's he's got a couple archers up there along the bridges, and they're like, maybe they're flinging like what was that, grappling hooks, and they're pulling party members up off of the ground with their grappling hooks, taking them out of the fight.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah. Or orcs with nets.
Yeah.
Would be fun. Like orcs with like something to incapacitate party members or something.
You gotta be able to like your party members are capable of like shifting around and flanking, so you gotta be able to pull them somehow or lock them down somehow.
Right.
Or get them moving by having this thing move as well.
Oh yeah, and at higher levels, I mean, you could easily supplement a lot of this for lair actions.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you're doing like a higher level, you could have like a lair action of like a chain lightning spell through these pillars.
Right. Yeah, I love the idea that maybe if you're standing in between these pillars, like every once in a while, like magical lightning will arc between them.
Something cool that I like to use a lot is dynamic rooms. So instead of 5 pillars, let's say that you have what would be like a 6-sided shape. Would you need 7 pillars for 6 sides? I think you would, right? Or would you need 6 pillars? Anyways, you have 6 sides, right? That cause these pillars, and you roll a d6 and you label the sides. And if you roll whatever number you roll on that, that's the side of the wall that gets like an electric shock between the 2 pillars. And if you're standing in that area, that you're going to get fried by that electric shock, and it's going to be randomized on like count 10, count 0, or count 20.
And then once again, depending on the type of orc you're having, I feel like there's like a weird misconception. This is probably especially coming from people that play World of Warcraft sort of orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Decide early on, if you're gonna throw in orcs, decide right away, do my orcs believe in an honor system? I see it a lot, especially from a player who we both know, who may or may not be one of the Dungeonmancers, who's obsessed with the idea that orcs have like an honor code. And I feel like I've shocked him on a couple of occasions where they definitely didn't. Where the orc honor code is, we're gonna kick your ass, and that was the end of the honor code. It's something you should decide, because World of Warcraft orcs, right? The Horde, I think they are the more honorable orcs. They're the orcs that will engage you in frontline combat and big armies, and they fight like humans almost. Most orcs are not like that.
D&D orcs are definitely not like that.
Most orcs have pocket sand that they'll throw into your eyes, and then they'll kill.
Well, they win by any means.
Yeah, orcs. Think about the Battle of Helm's Deep, the Siege of Helm's Deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
That orc strapped dynamite to his back and ran straight into the grate and blew up. You know what I mean?
And then hundreds of orcs got crushed by rubble.
Yeah. Decide how organized they are. Some like Tolkien orcs and Warhammer orcs and that sort of thing. Oh, we'll just mob rush you. They will do anything because their plan is to overwhelm you with numbers.
Yes.
Decide if the orcs are going to do that. Decide if the orcs are cunning. Decide if the orcs use traps and the light gadgetry. Even strong gadgetry if you're kind of going in that route. But you got to decide that early on. Because that's really going to dictate, because you want to stick to it. You want to stick to that theme the entire time that you have orcs on screen, right? Because if some orcs are playing like that and other orcs are playing differently, the players are going to get confused and they're going to feel like they can't form any actual good plans. And then if you want to have a smart orc, it'll actually invalidate that kind of twist when an orc talks, you know, like a proper English gentleman when you approach him. You know what I mean? When you've been encountering orcs that sound like this, and then suddenly you encounter an orc that's like, I say gentlemen, and it's gonna be really, it's not gonna have that same impact if you don't stick with the goober orcs the entire time before that. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
That's just an example, though. Having a hyper intelligent orc is a funny thing to do, generally speaking. It doesn't have to be funny in your setting. You want to have orcs that are more intelligent than the monster manual orcs provide, I would encourage it.
Yeah.
Maybe scale down a different one of their stats, but I would encourage it.
I mean, I would always
But that being said,
you know, I'd bump like, if you're gonna have like your boss orc, right, this like sicko lightning manipulating orc while all his buddies are throwing grappling hooks and yanking people into the air. Probably give him like proficiency and wisdom saves. Like,
that's such a good one. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Especially if he's like an Eye of Grumsh or something. I'm sure the Eye of Grumsh must have a wisdom save thing, I hope.
I'm sure that some of I know like the 3 spellcaster-esque orcs that they have, I have a little bit higher wisdom. So I'm pretty sure that's what they base their spellcasting off of.
Yeah, okay, here's my problem right here. I'm looking at the Eye of Grumsh stat block right now.
Yeah.
Orc Eye of Grumsh, which is a wisdom-based spellcaster because it's technically a cleric, only has a wisdom of 13.
That is trash.
A +1. And then in totality with their spiritual weapon, for instance, which is one of the only spells that they get, it's a +3 to hit. Which is fine, again, if you have a bunch of orcs kind of running interference for this guy. He's challenge rating 2. Especially against certain builds and certain creatures, he's going to do nothing.
Yes.
He's not going to be able to hit the paladin, probably.
No.
At least not consistently enough. Where 1d8 +1 is probably going to do enough. Yeah.
All right, I got.
That's basically give him more wisdom, or make him proficient in saving throws, or something.
Now let's go sicko mode. Screw the spells that they give the Orc Eye of Grumsh. Bump his wisdom to like a 16. Make all his spells, lightning based, and anytime he hits somebody who's wielding anything of metal, it's gonna, they're gonna have like some sort of negative, or it's gonna deal more damage to them because they're wielding metals. This will give your druid a nice little spot to shine if they're following their druidic traditions and not using metal.
Yeah.
Give him cool lightning abilities. Give his buddies a bunch of grappling hooks or nets. And I just got like the image in my mind of like two dudes on the opposite ends of these pillars throwing two hooks on one person and trying to pull them apart.
Jesus.
While this guy is zapping lightning at him while he's being yanked apart.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean we're probably getting up to more like level 6, level 7 type
This
of
is
here.
boss builds. We don't fuck around.
Fuck around. Yeah, because the regular Vibe Grumsh is fine at its appropriate level, but that falls off pretty quick.
Very quick.
A lot of people,
especially if it's like there's like 3 orcs, they're gonna slaughter them.
Yeah, a lot of people, myself included, tend to rush through the levels where he is a threat. Players like to be level 3 and higher.
Yeah, players don't like feeling. Players really like their 3rd level spells and their extra attack. They really like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a big problem with D&D, especially with the hit point system. Just early on, players are, and rightfully, very squishy. To the point where a couple goblins that get good enough rolls will do the job. Excuse me. Other end of the spectrum, once they hit like 5th level, it's time to start throwing aboleths at them because otherwise they won't die.
Yeah, otherwise they're never gonna feel challenged.
No.
That's what we're here for. We're here to use orcs and slap your players around with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so more. I like the idea of making him like a Tempest cleric, giving your orc a bunch of levels in like Tempest cleric. That's sick.
I don't know why my mind has latched on to the idea of an orc flinging lightning around, but
it's cool.
It has, and this is where we are
and
now.
Make your orc god in your setting some sort of horrible light deity. Maybe orcs attack during thunderstorms or something. So whenever there are thunderstorms in this region, people know.
And they carry, they have they have like special unit soldiers that carry around lightning rods to fuel the lightning casters.
Oh god. Just orcs getting fucking evaporated by lightning.
Well, I mean, they have like a wooden pedestal like on there, so they have like a wooden pedestal on their back, and they're carrying this big old lightning pillar.
Would that not still?
I think the wood diffuses because the electrical current doesn't pass through wood.
No, I know that, but I mean, I felt like there was something else about lightning striking so close to the human body that was dangerous.
This is Fantasyland. It doesn't matter.
But it's an orc.
He's an orc. Come on.
True. I like the idea of him being covered in like burn marks all over his back, though.
Maybe he's been specifically trained because he's an Urukai, and they bred him specifically to be resistant to lightning damage, so he can be a rod bearer.
That'd be cool. Yeah, he's got some troll blood in him. Oh, that's a cool idea.
Ooh.
Some sort of like, because orcs in D&D tend to make love.
Lots of things.
Anything and everything. That's another thing we could get into. Orogs and stuff like half breeds.
There's a lot of them.
Half orcs, big one. Yeah, Orogs are huge. I would say that's some sort of like orc troll hybrid. Maybe this orc boss has like the loathsome limbs variant that trolls get, where cut off his arm and his arm keeps like trying to attack you with the weapon or whatever.
I kind of like that.
Kind of fun. Yeah, that's more low level, but it would be cool to like have him come back and have like regrown.
Maybe his arm's just replaced by a lightning arm.
Oh yeah. I like a mad orc that maybe worships Baphomet or a Yinoghu or something, and he's got like, maybe if he's a Baphomet orc, he's got like antler, like horns, like bull horns coming out of his head and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Like,
that's like the I forget what it's called. It starts with a T. There is an orc type that it's actually a demon, but it is
the Tanaruk.
Yeah, Tanaruk.
Yeah, those are sick.
Those things are rad. Those things are pretty cool, but
That is
technically
one. That's what
not
I'm thinking of,
classified as an orc. They are a demon.
That is what I'm thinking of, isn't it?
I think so.
That is a Baphomet orc, basically.
Those things are sweet. They very
It's
thematically cool.
by an outsider. So it could be any of the sort of fiends or anything like that, or the demons, I should say. But yeah, no, that's sick. That's a cool enemy. And I know it says that they're generally like foot soldiers for like Cambions and stuff. If you have like a Cambion big bad evil guy for like the first section of your campaign, and you have to deal with his Tanaruk general and his legion of like black iron armored orcs, that rules.
And you know, we're also going to have to make a Cambion boss build because of that, because Cambions are not. That's way too epic for that.
Cambions are sick.
Cambions are dope thematically.
Cambions are not used enough either.
No.
And I've never gotten to use a Cambion. I've never gotten to the level, really.
But orcs, we'll cover Cambions later. Getting off topic again.
Okay. Tanaruks. I love them. I'm probably going to use one now because they're
rad. They are very cool.
I'll look at their stat block real quick. I want to see what this guy can do.
Are they classified as an orc or a demon?
I'm looking. They're fiend.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
They are fiend, but they're also parentheses demon and orc.
Yeah. I mean, they were originally an orc. No longer.
So they're technically they are still an orc. That's the interesting thing. So they have the fiend type. So any fiend targeting spells target them. But if you had anything that targeted orcs specifically, it would still hit them, I think.
I mean, I would say yeah.
They, like most orcs, do not get a lot of stuff to do. The only thing that they get, this is pretty cool, is if they are hit by a melee attack, they can use a reaction to make an advantaged melee attack against whoever hit them. That's crazy.
As a reaction?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. I like that.
They have a great sword. That's pretty good. A +7 to hit great sword. And they have magic resistance, and they have the orc aggressive trait where they can move their speed as a bonus action to reach a target, which I like. I feel like it could use a few more demony
like
twists to it. I mean, it's got resistance to fire and poison, but I don't know. I feel like I would give it like a cool flaming sword, or if you're at like a boss level one, like give it like a sword of wounding or something to really kind of sell that.
Give it a sicko sword.
Yeah, make the sword cooler, or give it like maybe I don't know, so a little bit of fire damage on its bite or something. Give it something to make it a little demon.
Something cool.
But this is not the Tanaruk episode. I just like orcs, and that is one of them.
So
that's one of the examples of the cool stuff you can do, because orcs can be a lot of different things. Orcs are
you can get wacky
I think
with
orcs get like an S in terms of versatility and how you can use them in your campaign. They get like a C, possibly even a D.
I would say
in
D.
terms of what their actual stat block can do.
Their stat block sucks. Personally, I hate their stat block.
Their stat blocks tend to be very boring. And that's because you're supposed to be throwing a lot of them. That's what's supposed to make orc encounters interesting, is fighting a bunch of orcs who use traps and like, okay, we did in our Tomb of Annihilation campaign, we did that the Forge of Fury side. Like, I used the Forge of Fury from Tales from the Yawning Portal as a side quest for you guys to do.
Yeah.
Remember, you guys went up into that mountain. There was the orcs living in the old dwarven workshop, and they there was like a rope bridge you were supposed to be trying to cross, and they cut it and did all this stuff.
Okay. I remember this.
Yeah, that stuff's cool. Orcs are crafty. They might not be intelligent, but they're crafty.
Yeah,
and they're like they want to win. They want to live. Unless you're playing Warhammer, in which case they want to die. But you know, Yeah.
All right.
I think this all really stems back to the what kind of work you're doing question. What kind of
Oh,
work
yeah.
you're setting.
You gotta figure out if you're gonna make a bunch of mutated, crazy, Tolkien orcs, or if you're gonna make highly intelligent WoW orcs, or if you're gonna make sicko Warhammer orcs that are flying airships and it's powered by their dreams.
Yeah, duct taping pieces of metal together to make swords and shit.
But to give these guys a good, solid round single boss, I think we've hit on a couple topics. But what is a good, like, cohesive, singular boss, given what we've said so far, with some cool abilities that we've kind of touched on?
Okay. I think we're really liking the lightning idea.
Probably the one we've talked most about.
Well, I like it. I think numbers, location. I mean, location's always going to be big, but for instance, I would say that orcs are at their best when they're attacking a town that the party is in.
Mm-hmm.
I think going to the orc camp is fine, but the orcs are going to be at their most when the city's on fire and the players are battling their way through the streets through like orc raiders that are like burning down shops and stuff, and they're scattered out and they're chasing people all over the place. So fighting the orc chief who's in town square and he's like beheading prisoners and raising their heads up in the air and then striking the heads with lightning or something. That's where the orc is at his best. That's where the lightning orc's at his best.
He's got his 6 tower guardsmen standing around him, and he's got his other orcs that he commands just going ballistic on the town as he's just standing there like with the leader, like the town mayor's head next to him, and he's like talking to it and shooting, like controlling some of the lightning and throwing it at buildings.
Oh yeah. Or he's got like in I'm trying to think of what, I don't know what the example is, but like he'll have like a bunch of like spikes coming off his back, and he's got like the severed head of like the town mayor like here, like right next to his head or something, as like a status symbol. Stuff like that is, I mean, just awesome. So I think for setting, let's go with, we're in the town square. He's got the town mayor's head
on his head.
Nicely on his, and he is maybe, some sort of ritual is happening. He's like doing some sort of thing for Grumsh or whatever god in your setting. There should be a couple ads in the form of orcs, just like general orc foot troopers. Depending on what level you're at, maybe you could throw in an orog or something. Maybe the orog can be the one with the lightning rod pack on or something like that. And his abilities should revolve around him being the leader of the orc community that's come with him, the tribe, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So if you gave him some of like the abilities that like some of the captain stat blocks get and whatnot, where it's like, it's like it's like how the fuck could you miss or something, where it's like if an orc within 30 feet of him misses an attack, he berates him in orcish and that guy gets advantage on the attack roll or something. I don't know. Stuff like that is very fun. Or his eye could have unique properties to it. Like if it's high, and if you're at the right level for this, I think an orc with like a paralyzing hold person eye could be very scary. Or something like that.
Being able to stun and incapacitate is always good.
I think a battle cry, like a real orc wah sort of situation that gives maybe all orcs within a certain radius temporary hit points, could be cool. That could really solidify him as the leader. That sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then make his weapon cool. Make sure he has a cool weapon.
I like to think that this guy probably doesn't even have I like to think that he literally is so like cocky that he doesn't even have a weapon, and because he's so confident with these abilities that he's been gifted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's just using
the
shit out of them.
I mean, I do like that maybe he doesn't use it most of the time. Like maybe he is just standing in the back using it. But I think the problem you're going to get into with that is that the second the players do gap close on him and his ranged attacks are at disadvantage, the boss battle is going to sour pretty quickly.
Well, fuck it, give him a lightning punch then.
Give him a lightning punch, or maybe like a mace that does some lightning damage or something, like a big nasty kind of like jagged iron mace or something that he doesn't use much, only for special occasions, like when someone would dare to get close enough to him.
Because like I don't know what I'm thinking of. But I know that there is something that I can't picture what it is, but where like there's like a lightning gauntlet and they hit him and it like shock blasts them a couple feet away. I don't remember what this is from, but it is from something. But you could basically give him some ability.
It's the new artificer.
I don't know.
Armor artificer. The armor artificer gets like a power punch, but I don't know if
it might be. That. I don't know. I might be thinking of something from like Marvel or DC or something. I don't know where I'm getting this, but I know it's something.
Okay. I do like a punch that moves whoever is nearby like 10 feet away. Maybe if they fail like a strength check, they get pushed back 10 feet.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just something to keep people off of him, I think, is a big thing.
Yeah, I don't think that he's gonna give him a lot of stuff that he can get out of, that melee combat. Like a blast, give him like a thunder wave, give him like a, some sort of something. I mean, I'd say give him like a 2-a-day free thunder wave. I mean, that lets him kind of bounce people away from him.
Sure. Okay, here's a crazy one. The orc leader is just like a severed head in a jar that can talk. And whoever, like different orcs throughout the battle, will pick him up as he is killed by the party. And they inherit sort of his abilities as he is worn. Like, he casts his spells through that. He'll keep the same spell slot pool and everything. Yeah. I don't know. That's just a weird one. I just really like that visual.
A head that holds the power.
I like the idea that the party's trying to play hot potato with
an orc head.
The orcs are passing him around. That way he stays out of the party's grasp, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if the party closes around one orc, he'll unhook him and throw him to the next one down
the line.
Yeets
him to the next dude.
Yeah.
I
think that could be really cool.
I love that. Honestly, I really like that. That is very chaotic orc energy, and I'm very with it.
That's more into the Warhammer orcs or something. Or this orc has been given some sort of horrible suit. I mean, that works with the troll thing. Maybe he's submerged in like a vat of like some sort of troll
like
fluid.
Yeah, he's in like a vat of like troll acid
to keep him regenerating or something.
He's in like a goldfish bag, and they're throwing him around.
Yeah. Or so I just think that's because that way he stays in the fight until the party catches whatever orc.
So they actually get a hold of him,
and they smash the thing open and then like beat the head in.
Fuck yeah, I'm so into
that. Keeps that awesome. And don't like when they actually get to him, he should have reduced. Like he should not have a lot of HP.
I mean, if he's ahead, he's got like what, maybe 5-10 HP. He's ahead.
Yeah. And maybe something fun that the like ranger or archer of your group could do is like maybe the jar should have like an okay AC, but maybe there's like a way you could like, well, you hit like a 17 if you're targeting the head, you can like knock it out of someone's hand or something.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be pretty sick. I like this head idea.
Yeah, me too. I'm probably gonna use this.
Well, I think we've ranted on about orcs for a decent amount of time. Do you have any final orcish thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think.
I think the head's a good spot to end that.
Yeah, might makes right. Uh, um, take what's yours. That sort of situation,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. Really, yeah. Oh, cool animal companions are always fun. Bears, like evil, like twisted bears and stuff like that, can be fun, or something. It really depends. It depends. That's my final word. Is it all depends on what kind of
depends.
orcs you want? Are they
It's on
goofy?
you
Are they
guys.
serious? Are they inherently evil? Are they misunderstood? You got to figure all this out, and it's kind of a headache sometimes, but you've got to consistently stay with it. Unless you're trying to do one subvert your expectations encounter, stick with your orcs because they will do good things for you because they are badass. They're badass, but you got to know what to do with them.
Basically, what Salem's saying is, tell us what cool orc ideas you have.
Yeah, tell us your orcs in the comment below,
and then
make sure to
maybe
slap that bell.
Oh, are we doing
Thunder
this now?
punch that subscribe button.
Thunder punch the like button.
Yeah.
And let us know what some cool
tell
orcs
your
that you're
friends and
into.
family about the channel. If you're not subscribed already, what's taking so long? I got places to be.
Yeah, and like there's a possibility, you know, if you pitch a cool orc idea, we might even, you know, go and discuss some things about that and monkey around with your personal idea. I think that that'd be pretty sweet.
That'd be super cool. I would love to talk about, like, if any viewer wanted to send in like an idea that they had or something. I would love to flesh that out.
Yeah, that'd be
just
awesome.
to admire your work. I think that'd be so cool. I love hearing people's DM build ideas. That's one of my favorite things to talk about.
I love it.
All the time. All the time.
Well, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful day wherever you are, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, blessings of Grumsh upon you.
Whoa. Oh my god.
Oh, here's an idea for a bonus.
What?
Work with a gun.